Let's talk about self sabotage and how it relates to our nervous system and to more than just these toxic traits and patterns that we write off our self sabotage as. So, I love to describe to my clients that self sabotage isn't exactly what it sounds like. It's not you trying to sabotage yourself. It's actually a part of you that is trying to protect you. And you're like, what? What does that mean? When I have self sabotage, it's only harming me and causing bad things to happen. And I'm here to say that self sabotage is actually an innocent part of your nervous system and mind and subconscious that is actually trying to keep you safe. And what I mean by this is our nervous system and our subconscious creates these different patterns from situations and experiences throughout our life that in those times we had to basically form a new habit, form a new way to move through life. So say when you were younger, you were in a traumatic experience where all you wanted to do was just numb out. You didn't want to feel the emotions of the experience. And so you found a way to numb out by scrolling on social media or by starting to take drugs or drink alcohol. And we start these self sabotaging patterns when we're actually pretty young. And our nervous system creates these patterns that basically, when we are triggered by a situation that reminds our subconscious of a situation when we were younger, it triggers us into that pattern of protection. And so you might be wondering, okay, but why does this matter? Why do we care that it's a protective mechanism instead of self-sabotage? Because when we're able to really see it for what it is, instead of this part of us that's trying to sabotage our healthy relationships, sabotage our motivation, our discipline, our work, whatever it is, we can finally take this part of us and see it for what it is, and see that it's actually a younger part of us that is just needing to find a new tool. Instead of watching the porn or drinking or, getting into another toxic relationship, you can really get to know these parts of you that are just needing new strategies, new tools for how to have a healthy reaction to triggers in life. And so this is deeply related to our nervous system, because when we can create these new patterns in our nervous system of safety whenever we are triggered, then we allow the nervous system to find new patterns of, instead of freezing, numbing, or fawning, you can go into more of a state of relaxation and to be able to react from a place of peace instead of a place of trigger. So if you relate to any of this, you have any self-sabotaging addictions or patterns, I really want you to know and to remember that there's nothing wrong with you. Once I learned that there's actually nothing wrong with myself, with my psyche, with my brain, with my body, it's just these patterns that we have to get to know and get to learn. It really gave me a lot of solace, a lot of freedom in knowing that. And in knowing that all we have to do is to take time to get to know these younger parts of us that have created these patterns of safety from a space of not having better tools when we were younger. And so I really encourage you to, whenever you do feel a time where you are triggered or where you are tempted to fall back into or to do a toxic habit that you know is not good for you, whether it's online shopping, whether it's, gambling, anything that's deep within you, is not healthy for you, and you're really tempted to go into that pattern again, I encourage you to take a moment. And instead of numbing out, scrolling on your phone, doing something to distract yourself, even calling a friend, I encourage you to take a moment and to just be present with what is actually happening inside of your mind and your body. And it might be really uncomfortable. It might feel like, oh my God, I'm going to die if I sit with this feeling and if I allow myself to really feel the depths of this anxiety, this stress, this depression, this anger, this grief, whatever it is. But that's the moment when you start to take your power back. Because when you continually just, give your energy to these self-sabotaging patterns, these patterns of protection, actually, it's like you're allowing all of your energy to go there. And these patterns can be really insidious, very, very subtle, and it can be easy to kind of misinterpret them or to give more importance to them than they actually hold. For example, someone that you have been really, trying hard to get to like you, and he's breadcrumbing you, and you're like, but I really feel like he could be the one or she could be the one. But yet deep down, you're just chasing after someone who's not giving you the time of day or the respect that you deserve. And it's like, okay, when you continually text that person and allow them into your energy field, it's like it gets to a point where, okay, are you doing this because you actually desire to be with this person and you feel like there is, a possibility, or are you trying to distract yourself from something else that's actually going on in your life that needs attention and needs your love and compassion? Such as your business, such as another different relationship or a situation at work. And so you start to see these areas of your life where you're either avoiding or you're numbing. You're trying to kind of chase after that carrot, and deep down it's not for you, it's not healthy for you. But there's this part of you that's like, well, if we distract and if we find something that, releases the dopamine, that will keep us safe. And you start to realize it becomes a cycle, right? It becomes this cycle of, I need to scroll on my phone. It's the first thing you do when you wake up and before you go to bed, because you don't want to sit with the feelings. You don't want to sit with the truth of how you're truly feeling on the inside. But I'm here to tell you that if you're able to sit with those emotions, if you're able to journal about those emotions or to talk about those emotions instead of numbing, avoiding, distracting, that's when things start to shift and when you're able to overcome self-sabotage, which in my opinion is just a cry from parts of yourself, from your soul, from your body, from your subconscious of, I need attention. I need you to acknowledge how I'm actually truly feeling. And same with anxiety, same with depression. It's really just your mind and body calling for you to give it acknowledgement, to really be with it, to feel it, to not keep numbing it, because we all know when we continue to numb and we continue to avoid, it doesn't go away. And that's what the self-sabotage, it's almost like it's trying to convince us if we just have a couple of glasses of wine every night, we smoke weed, whenever we get anxious, we, get on TikTok, we get on YouTube, we get on Netflix, whatever it is, there's so many vices these days, that will be okay. We'll make it through. And, we won't have to actually feel what's underneath all of this. But I'm here to just remind you that you have to go into what is calling for your attention, for you to actually move through it, for you to overcome the self-sabotage. And truly, you don't have to do it alone either. I talk to my friends and clients all the time, and they're like, okay, but I feel like I have to do this alone. And it's like, no, you never have to do anything alone. And I think it's so powerful to talk to people about these self-sabotaging or addictive behaviors that you have, because the more you keep it inside, the more you just feel as if it's your own burden to carry. You don't want to have to burden anyone else. The more it perpetuates the issue, right? So I encourage you to really find either a therapist or a friend who you can talk with about these things, so it doesn't, continue to fester. And, the more we don't express something, the more we keep it hidden, the more it just festers and perpetuates the issue. So this is just my own advice for my past self that I wish I would have had a few years back, when I was just really feeling as if I could never overcome self-sabotage. I mean, there were days when I was just like, I feel like I'm going to self-sabotage every relationship I'll ever be in. I'll never be a successful entrepreneur because I'll just continue to self-sabotage. I'll continue to eat unhealthy because, there's this part of me that is just trying to sabotage. And it's like, it's all untrue. And it's actually just you making up these excuses for the self-sabotage, as if it's this separate entity. And the more we keep that separateness between this self-sabotage part of us and our good, true self, the more it will just continue on with the problem. And when we're able to really see this self-sabotaging part of ourselves as a part of us that is trying to protect us, trying to help us, and who actually just needs love, and it's most likely just a part of our inner child that is just trying their best, trying to keep it together with the very early primitive tools that they had, then you can start to really realize, okay, this doesn't have to control my life for the rest of my life. I don't have to, allow this self-sabotage to sit in the driver's seat. I can get to know it, get to know this part of you that's just seeking love, that's just needing attention, needing you to express and feel what's there. And once you start to do that, once you start to just become aware of it, that's the first step. The first step is to become aware of the patterns that you're allowing your body and your mind to be in every day. And then you start to consciously really shift from, okay, I don't have to do this, even though it's like a mindless thing. Waking yourself back up to that conscious decision of, okay, I have other choices here. I can decide to not scroll on my phone. I can decide to not binge Netflix. And I can find something more productive. And I can find something that allows me to actually be with what is going on in my mind and body, whether it's breath work, meditation, journaling, talking to a friend who will help you work through the situation instead of just perpetuate it or ignore it. And that's when things start to shift. When you acknowledge the problem, when you shine light on this self-sabotage, that's when things start to shift. The more we ignore, the more we just pretend it's not there and pretend that it's fine, the longer the issue will continue. So I hope that this gives you hope, and that you don't have to, basically feel that this self-sabotage is what you are condemned to have for the rest of your life. You know, it's something that once you get to acknowledge it and get to know it and almost befriend this part of yourself, it's like it no longer has that grasp on you, because the more that you alienate yourself from it and say, that is not me, I don't want any part of that, in my life, that's when it continues to stick around, continues to fester. So, a bug just attacked me. Okay. Um, and the more you try to push it away, the more you try to ignore it, the longer it will stay with you. So, I encourage you to get to know all parts of yourself, because truly there's no part of you that is wrong. All parts of us have developed for a specific reason, to either protect us, to help us in certain situations when we were younger. And so when you can stop seeing it as this war against another part of yourself, and just really getting to know and getting to welcome a part of you home, that's when things start to really shift. So if you watch this, I feel you, I am with you. Self-sabotage is something that I think most of us deal with at a certain point of our life. And, the society that we live in, it's really hard to not just fall into these self-sabotaging, numbing out behaviors, because they're so normalized. Whether it's vaping, whether it's Netflix, or scrolling on social media for hours, I really encourage you to just become conscious and just really start to take a look at your thoughts and your feelings, the sensations in your body, and just to start to be with it instead of ignoring it. So if you liked this video, I am so excited and happy that you're here. Please subscribe, and there will be many more videos to come around entrepreneurship, spirituality, the nervous system, and really becoming your best self. So again, thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more.